you'll get to see these jets do their thing in this 24-hour period. And hopefully my booklet that I made up is going to really give your brain the education, the knowledge to self-examine this subject and think about it. Think about what's happening. Possibly you've got relatives that fly. Possibly you've got relatives that are in the Air Force flying. And, I've got lots of stories, and lots of, to me, stories and testimonies really, don't mean a lot. But, to kill some time here, I will tell you what a man told me that was a retired Air Force colonel. I asked him about this subject, it's been 7-8 years ago probably. And I buy a product off of him. I haven't bought him for some time, but anyway, I was a customer of his. And if I remember right, he was out in Kansas City, I think is where he lives now. But anyway, he was a, what do you call it, a graduate of West Point. And I would imagine a lot of the people in the forces that become colonels and generals, lieutenants, and that probably come from West Point or some type of extra education in the forces. But anyway, this man, he admitted to me. He said that he did it, but he did it 1960 to 1962. So it had been some time, and he's pretty old. And so I'm assuming he was probably in his 30s or late 20s when he was doing this. But he said he was doing it while he was in the service over the country of India. And he sprayed them for several years, day in and day out. And I asked him why. And he just very candidly said it was for the good of all. And, I tried to get across to him, like you see a cross on the TV here, I tried to get across to him that if he's spraying them, those chemicals are also getting in his family and him. And, that, our country is sprayed just the same as India. So, maybe other countries, we spray different chemicals. I don't know. It's I believe this stuff all started in probably after World War I or early World War II, and it was probably originally an art of spraying your enemy from the air. But needless the facts, I tried to get across to this man that he also this program is harming his children, his grandchildren, and future grandchildren. And in his programmed mind, this made no difference. To him, this was perfectly acceptable. He was trained, I don't know if he was hypnotized or just plain out trained to believe he was superior, or that, the life doesn't mean much. I really don't know. But in his training, he accepted the fact that there's too many people, and to harm their health from the air, not only acceptable, but good. And if that means his family's life is shortened, then that's acceptable to him and good. So I myself do not understand these guys. They're up there doing this, and tomorrow you're going to see the really harmful ones. I mean, these guys here, they're trying to filter the sun, and they're doing just as much harm as the others. And maybe it's the same guys, they're just going to be using different chemicals. But you can see these guys got to know what they're doing. They got to know what they're putting in the air, and they got to know that it's falling on their parents and their relatives and every animal and creature and tree and grass, you name it, everything on the face of the earth, the fish, you name it, everything is absorbing their chemicals. So, right here this evening, maybe there's 8 guys, here doing it or so. But, when you look at this on a worldwide program, there are hundreds of these guys up here doing this 24/7. I do not believe there's a country in the world that this is not being done to. If there is a country that it's not being done to, then that's probably not a bad place to go live. But anyway, here the sun is about gone. It's starting to get darker, and I just had 3 to the left, and here's 3 to the right. You can see the typical, about 5 miles apart. You see that a lot of times. And surely everybody that works at an airport, they all know this. Anybody that looks at a radar screen of any kind of what's flying in the air, they have to see these guys fly back and forth, around and around and around and crisscrossing. They come so close to hitting each other. I mean, it looks like they're going to hit each other head on, but they're divided by X amount of feet, in altitude. But on a radar screen, anybody working at an airport has to know these guys are up there, and they're up there every day, and they're not passenger jets. These guys are not landing at airports and dropping people off. I mean, you can sit out there and watch their trails and spot the difference between the jets and see that same jet come back in 3 minutes. I mean, it's just so easy to educate yourself on this subject. Right there, there's 5 of them in the picture. There's 3, 4 out of the picture, making their trail coming back. But you can see the sky. The sky is getting grayer and grayer. I've watched the sky for so many years now, I just kind of call it Corvette gray. It's just kind of like a gray silver. It's the color of aluminum, chips falling down. So you're gonna see this, what we've grown up to be a standard color in our sky. And in the book, you're gonna read a section out of a medical book about the state of Texas, where they talk about naval jets doing exactly what you're seeing right here, exactly, back in 1948. So they were doing it professionally in 1948. I can only imagine that, excuse me, they were doing this probably, I'm gonna guess as soon as they were able to fly planes in wartime, that they got the bright idea to put chemicals and lay these chemicals down over your enemy. And in the book, you will find some satellite pictures of, I believe it was Iraq and Afghanistan. And you'll get to see from space these guys going in and putting down a pattern of chemicals in a given area of the country. And you can just easily believe that they're doing this for a purpose. If you search around on the internet, or possibly in books, you'll see that back in Hitler time, they learned how to use fluoride, how to put aluminum in Poland's water supply, in their food supply, to the toxic rate that you could just make slaves out of anybody.